Leader of the Booner Path. I lead from the front.
All right, boys. Lock in.
It's our core foundation, man. Grit.
I'm fired up. I'm fired the up, boys.
It's pumping right now. It's got my juice pumping, boys.
All right, we're live. Crunch Time Sports, Jeff Iafrate and Booner here in Indianapolis for the NFL Combine, the 2026 Scouting Combine. Today, we had defensive linemen and linebackers work out and also speak to the media. So, actually, DBs, tight ends, safeties, all spoke to the media. And then defensive linemen and linebackers worked out. Yesterday, the defensive linemen and linebackers spoke to the media. But a lot of things to get to today. Terrion Arnold situation kind of going on. Nolan Bianchi, great with the reporting.
Yeah.
You had the Sam Laporta stuff. ESPN suggesting, the Lions could look into trading him. It's ball. A lot of opinions being thrown out there today. We have some a lot of prospects to break down, things we're hearing down in Indy. We got a packed show today.
We do have a back show. Yeah.
No way.
What?
What happened?
Nothing. I was going to switch headsets. This is one of the ones. Just a little. I'll switch it at some point.
Okay, never mind.
I'll say we're live. We're
intro.
I'm in a minute here. I'm going to switch headsets to that one. This one is a little. I don't know. This one. Listen. Oh, maybe not. I thought I could hear myself breathing out of my nose. I hate it. I hate when I'm doing that. It was an interesting day, though. We were up early. Had a good breakfast this morning in Indy. We found a new place where every single big-time NFL exec was there. And then we had a pretty good day, interesting day talking to, what was it fully today that we talked to? Safeties, corners, tight ends. We've talked about relentlessly on this show, outside of, obviously, we know we need tackle and offensive line, edge rusher. We need that on the Lions, and that's like first couple rounds, the needs. What was like, it's been a conversation when we do our mock draft Mondays that later rounds is going to have to be a safety. It's going to have to be a potential, maybe a corner later rounds, and as well as a tight end because of, you don't know the future of Sam Laporta. So we were able to speak to a lot of tight ends today, tight ends that we've mocked, tight ends that we've talked to, not mocked like bad mock, but mocked in our mock drafts.
Good, thanks for clarifying that.
Yeah, I just want to make sure. And safeties, I thought the safeties were solid. There's actually, I think after today, we already had like 4 or 5 safeties later rounds that we liked outside of the Caleb Downs of the world and the Toledo kid as well. But I think today even proved more that they're like, this is a really good safety class. I was talking to Tim Twentyman when we were there, and we were talking safeties. We were talking Kirby, Bryant, all of that. And then he was just like this class, this safety class, there's so many guys in this class that you can get from the third rounds later that have like ball production like you have in Kirby and Bryant. And then there's also a handful of guys that are versatile and are nickels, just like Brian Branch is. So if you're looking for a future Brian Branch replacement, you can find it in this draft class. Maybe not as good, but that type of style. And then if you want a Kirby replacement, if you need that, you have so many guys in this draft class that are the exact same. Bishop, Fitzgerald, Bud Clark, like those guys are just ball seekers.
Yeah, no, there are. There's safeties down here that can find the
Dude,
rock.
you can't do that over there.
Bud Clark, Bishop Fitzgerald, Jalen Husky, even the guys that spoke today. And I'll say this about the Combine. We say it every single year. Okay, I enjoy coming down to the Combine. We all do. It's great for networking. It's great for hearing, getting insight to your football team and, networking with other media members here that were, in Detroit, also around the country. It's nice getting to talk to the players, being credentialed now, we're able to do that. So we're blessed for that. It's fun. It's a lot of fun. You get to go out there and speak to all the prospects, get to know the personality, and then you get to determine, based on what we know about Dan and Brad, is this guy a lion? Does he check a lot of those boxes? I don't really try not to get too swayed when we leave. It's like, okay, well, this guy's, this or that. I try not to get over. It's like how I was explaining it earlier is you come to the Combine, you leave, and then you're like, oh, yeah, I got to check more of this guy out. You like learn things.
I think it opens up more doors for guys, like for you to find new guys. Yeah,
you're like, oh, okay, I didn't know much about this guy. But I think the access we have this year is we get to speak to these players. And today, a player that stood out and a player we've discussed a lot, and I'm glad we're me and you are now on the same page about it. And we've talked about him a while in the past. He's controversial. Keldrick Faulk, the big giant man that has all the tools physically out of Auburn, had a big 2024. He's projected to go in the first round, but that is a prime example of, lack of production this year, lack of pass rush win rate. But then you get to speak to him. and we reported on it on all our social medias, which you should be following already. All links are in the description. But hearing Keldrick talk about, at Auburn, we defend the run. We have to earn the right to rush the passer. The leadership he displayed. He's a team captain. He was giving NIL money to his teammates. Just a great human being. And on top of that, just the mentality he plays with. He plays violent. And just the way he was you could tell, like, okay, this guy seems to be a good dude. He's 20 years old. Brad Holmes, they love the RAS-score stuff. This guy, measurables-wise, is going to be ridiculous. Now, you might not like the pick because of lack of production. Fair. But there's no denying. Just take your opinion out of it. Look at it. Is this a Dan Campbell, Brad Holmes type of player? There's no question Keldrick Faulk checks those boxes. I mean, I definitely learned that.
I think the thing with Keldrick Faulk, that's someone I put a tweet out today, is just like, I think I'm starting to come around to the idea. I think it starts with one, they actually go edge at 17 because you have Keldrick Faulk, you potentially have a TJ Parker, and you have, a couple, Akeem Mesidor. Like, there are a couple options at 17 that I believe could step in right away and, take over for, the Marcus Davenport that you're looking to upgrade. If an AQM walks away, you could still get a free agent, but there's those options. Keldrick Faulk, the thing with this is, like, people, and we had this conversation while we were at the combine, people bring up the whole Shamar Stewart thing. Oh, well, it's basically just a Shamar Stewart another year. Like, in my comment section, when I posted the tweet, everyone's like, oh, yeah, another 2-set guy you want to draft, Booner. Like, that's not it. Like, we weren't that big in Shamar Stewart last year, and the reason was Shamar Stewart, throughout his whole career at Texas A&M, never had the numbers. Keldrick Faulk in 2024 had the numbers. There was a little decline, and it's like, okay, if you want to have this conversation, go look at TJ Parker. Has all the intangibles, has all the measurements, has everything to be one of the best edges in this class, but he had a down year, so it put him back a little bit. And you can get a guy that's talented now because they had a down year at a different pick. Like, dude, if Keldrick Faulk, or like even like TJ Parker, if TJ Parker had a big year at Clemson, there's a chance it's the same thing with Peter Woods, the defensive tackle out of Clemson. If one of those guys has a big year at Clemson last year, they're probably getting talked about going top 10. And now you have the talent-wise, you have an opportunity to get them at 17, or if you want to trade back, any of that. So
happens with a lot of players.
I think it was a really, really – what's up, Klotz?
It's easy to be skeptical of the player. I understand it when his comp is Marcus Davenport. I saw that in the chat.
Well, but what did I say there? It's Marcus Davenport, but one, he's healthy, and two, he's going to actually produce for you. That's the difference. It's an upgraded Marcus Davenport. Like, and what people don't understand is, if Marcus Davenport was really, really good and lived up to the hype, he would have been a good edge for this Lions team. The reason, like, you have to kind of take away and take the two sides. The reason people didn't like Marcus Davenport wasn't because of the type of edge he was. It was because he was never healthy and he never produced for you. If he was healthy and he produced for you, everyone would have a different mindset about him. And it's like, with Keldrick Faulk, he's 20 years old, by the way. Like, that's something too.
The other thing,
he's
also,
20.
I read, I was looking more into the player. Not only did he produce in 2024, but he actually played in a majority of the games.
He's a guy, and he's
it's just, I
don't want to use the word, but he's a dog because he gets overused. But he really is.
We had the discussion: is he a top 20 pick?
Yeah,
you disagreed with it.
No, well, we did. I think you could say now he is.
For sure. We're on the same page. But here's the thing, and this is why I think
worth the risk.
I think there is a risk there, and the reason why I'd say that is he's a power guy. I think a lot of the NFL looks at pass rushers as, you want guys that have just an entire arsenal of pass rush moves. He doesn't have that. He wins with power. He doesn't win with speed. He's a specific type of player. You can play him inside, play him outside. But maybe that's why you'd be a little more hesitant. That's why his pass rush win rate isn't really super high, because he doesn't have this, like Hutch was coming out with the spin move. I mean, he's winning with power. I mean, that's what now, can he learn some of those things? Yeah. He's not the most fluid guy. He doesn't have a lot of bendability, like the word we like to use. But it is reported. I don't know. We tweeted it out. The guy.
There was a draft. Someone who does
drafts at the Lions have interest in him. But I don't. Whether it's real or not, we can just say that.
I'll tell you this,
definitely will have interest.
Outside of Keldrick Faulk, I think Lions fans, and I'm going to go back and forth on this year. I think it's just two things. You have two options. It's either edge or tackle in the first round. That's the only two options. Like, unless there's a significant, and this is where I think you have to have an open mind. If there's a significant player that's falling, like Caleb Downs is probably not going to fall, but if somehow he does, if Arvell Reed, he's not going to. But like Sonny Styles, like if there's a guy that falls and you're like, wait a second, you're at 17 and a top 10 player has fallen to you, you just do it, right? Like it's BPA. at that point.
Yeah.
And you figure it out later in second round, you can go edge because it is a deep edge class. And I think it's the same thing for offensive tackle, to where there are offensive tackles that you can get in the second round that will be a starter for you in 2 years if Taylor Decker can hold up one more. So I think people need, like, from what I've taken from the first 3 days of the conversations we've had on top of what we've seen in day one, the takeaway so far, and we still have 3 or 4 days left. My takeaway so far is just more of an open mind in the first round, whether it's a player that falls or edge or tackle, because we've learned in the last 48 hours how valuable right now people feel like this edge class is, and as well as the tackle class. Like there are a lot of options.
There's a lot of options
not
at
gonna
edge,
miss
which
out.
I actually did want to ask. We'll get into it. Like anybody that stood out to you today watching, we'll get to the safety speaking to them, but at the combine, like, and I know you have guys we were pointing out. We had guys going into the day, which we were kind of looking forward to seeing. Like I'll start with a guy I've mentioned a bunch on the show, and that's Penn State defensive end Danny Dennis Sutton as a potential day 2 option. You mentioned the edge class is very deep. You're talking about a guy who's 6'5", 33.5-inch arms. We talked about the arm length today. We'll get to that, by the way, with Cassius Holland and Ruben Bain. He had 23.5 sacks in his career at Penn State, 7 forced fumbles, 2 interceptions. He's had 8.5 sacks at Penn State the last 2 years. 6'5", 270. He can play the run at Penn State, put his hand in the dirt a lot, lined up that way. Can be a 4-3 D end or a 3-4 outside linebacker, but he's a guy that today had a 4.6, 4.40, worked out, looked very good. And if you don't take an edge to what you were saying earlier in the first round as a day 2 guy, he's big. He can win with power. He's a hell of an athlete, and the production's there. So Danny Dennis Sutton, who I had in actually I think it was my 2.0, which you can check on the YouTube channel, is someone that I enjoyed watching today out of Penn State. Played in the Big Ten as well. Good offensive tackles. So someone to keep an eye on as we get kind of closer to the NFL draft. I think he's probably a second, third round guy based on like measurables and how he tested. But if the Lions are there, they have to acquire more picks preferably, but this could be a guy you look at it in day 2.
Can I, excuse me, I don't want to give a guy that the Lions can take, but is it my turn here? I'm going to do something different.
Yeah.
I'm going to say this. We talk about all the edges in this draft class. We keep having the conversation. Who's the best edge in this draft class? Who's going to get taken number 2 overall? Who's going to be number 3 overall? Who's going to the Jets? Who's going to the Cardinals? I'm going to tell the people this, and I think you're going to start seeing it after this week at the combine. David Bailey's the number 1 edge in this class.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's close. I do not think it's close. I know people like Ruben Bain. Klotz is probably cringing over there because he didn't like the fact that we were talking bad on Ruben Bain. It's not that Ruben Bain is bad. The one thing that I think a lot of people talk about all the time, especially I know, don't take a lot from the combine. Look at the film. Look at the film of David Bailey and Ruben Bain. David Bailey is just as good. The difference here is when you do have guys that are this close, the Ruben Bains, the David Baileys, and you're like, who's edge 1? You start to look at some measurables. And the one thing that popped up that we saw today was the top 10 in sacks this year in the NFL. All were essentially, you had 2 guys, outliers that were, I think it was Aiden Hutchinson and someone else that were like 32.5-inch arms. Ruben Bain, or no, not Ruben Bain's at like 30, which is like one of the shortest since like in the last like 15 years. But, and let me see if I could find I was looking for the RAS score to see where he measured at, where David Bailey measured. I could not find it. His arms, I believe, were 34 inches. I believe was the number, just over 34. Every single top 10 sack leader was essentially 34 or 33, and that was it. There was no 30, there was no 31, and that's like one of those things where people are like, "Oh, you don't look at the no, you have to." Like I think people like when we learn about the underwear Olympics are like, no, don't ever take account. Like, no, it's like the same thing with offensive tackle. If you don't have the arms, in 2 years, you're going to be like, oh, maybe you shouldn't have been playing tackle because you don't have the length to be able to, protect against one of the best edges in like a Micah Parsons. Like you need those arms. You need it. And it's like, it's proven. I think it's the same thing with edge rushers, man. Like you see the top 10 in sacks and edge rushers, you have to have long arms to be able to Can the people hear me? Can you hear me? Put in the chat. I love Dan Campbell, if you can hear me. Drew Petzing's the best, if you can hear me. If you can hear me, yes, the people can hear me. Okay, we are back. We're working on, I think the camera's getting back here. We're just getting that up. Sorry, everything shut down on us here with our remote setup. So we're, I think we got it figured out. We should be good to go. I will say this. So there may be a dysfunctional computer charger in this room that we're broadcasting out of. Okay, Michael Daly, not cool. And I apologize too. Let's just blame Ruben Bain's agent reached out to us and shut us down. That's essentially what happened. His agent. So I think we're back. All right, we're back. We are back. We're ready to go. How about that? Is this still unplugged? Then we just need to wiggle it a little bit, a little dark in here. All right. I don't know where we were left off. I was just talking about how I think David Bailey's the best edge in this class, and it's not close. And that's just because he looked incredible today. That was one of my takeaways. I know we were going through. Hey, Jeff, can you hand me my player sheet? That was just, we were going through some takes here. There was a defensive tackle, by the way, the Penn State defensive tackle.
Sorry
as
about
well.
that. All right, we're back. Whatever.
What was his name?
The Penn State one?
Defensive tackle.
Was it Durant or maybe I'm
Kevin Durant. I'm kidding. No, no. The Penn State guy. Where is he? I'm trying to find him. He was incredible. Oh, Zane Durant. You know what's crazy is I'm looking for him and I have all these notes on him. Ran a 4.75. I think he's going to be good.
Yeah.
I like Zane Durant, not Kevin Durant. It's Zane Durant. The two Penn State kids today, actually. The two Penn State defensive linemen. They're gonna have a good future.
Yeah, I agree with you. Just to kind of recap on the David Bailey take. Yeah, David Bailey proved he's the number one player. I don't think it's as big of a gap as you do, but I think he proved that he's number one. If I had
the number one overall pick and I had a quarterback in this class or already a quarterback on my team, I would have taken him. Yeah. I almost would put him as the number one overall player in the entire draft.
Yeah, I mean Arvell Reeson had a big day too.
You know who had a big day? Sonny Styles. His RAS score was a 10.0. It's the number one RAS score since or out of 3,000 linebackers from 1987 to now.
Now I'll throw out another player today, Malachi Lawrence, the defensive end out of UCF, another day 2 option for the Detroit Lions. Big, physical, productive. And I suggest you go watch some of his tape. Did really well today in terms of the 40. Not the 40, that 40 is everything, but it showed some of that athleticism, even at his size. And he had some pretty big games this year. I think one of them was against Baylor. So Malachi Lawrence, another day 2 option. But there's you got to see a lot of guys that we were already kind of high on. I will add this to another player. Just kind of staying on a relevance to the Lions today that tested really well, is a player that I think is, I took him in the second round for the Lions. And honestly, I'm going to continue to stand out. I wouldn't be mad if they did it. Kyle Lewis. He was incredible. I mean, he tested really well. Yeah. I know that was the thing people were wondering is his athleticism. He ran a sub 4.6 40. And he was top 3 in the broad jump, top up there in the vertical jump. So it just based his athleticism and the production's there. He's a smaller linebacker who can cover. He's 6'1", 220. Could play nickel, be kind of a Swiss Army knife on your defense. I mean, he's not playing deep safety, but he can play nickel. That's somebody that could definitely replace Anzo, or at least the role Anzo was playing, where he can guard tight ends. I mean, shit, he's athletic enough. He might stay with some slot receivers. I mean, he's an incredible athlete, and he's a very productive player. I mean, elite in coverage, and the guy who day 2, but more so probably second round. He's going to be selected, maybe early third at the latest. But Kyle Lewis definitely helped out his stock today. And honestly, just among this linebacker group, there's some really good linebackers, but Kyle Lewis is up there. I mean, he was hanging with Anthony Hill just athletically, and Anthony Hill's a freak athlete, and he wasn't too far behind him on some stuff, and even beat him on a couple other athletic measurements. I think the broad jump he was actually higher, or just slightly below. Vertical, he might have been higher. I mean, he almost had a 40-inch vertical. So I for Kyle Lewis. So
can I throw out a defensive tackle today? I kept bringing him up when this was going. Out of southeastern Louisiana, Caleb Proctor.
And by the way, Kyle Lewis did have a visit with the Lions.
He did,
informal, I believe. For you, Michael.
Caleb Proctor, though.
Yeah,
southeastern Louisiana.
That's a guy you got to go back and watch now.
Yeah,
that's what I mean.
And I looked up a couple of his plays while we were at the stadium, and the first play that popped up was him getting a sack in like week 1 versus Nussmeier, and getting to him with ease. He was a player of the year in their conference, and the first thing I told the boys, I said, like, how often do you ever see a defensive tackle being a player of the year in any conference? Like, it's usually a quarterback or like a receiver or a running back. And if it's going to be a defensive player, it's like an edge rusher. Like, this guy, I think he had 15 sacks or I don't know the exact number of sacks that he had, but he was testing, like, his size wasn't the best for a D tackle, but every single test that he did was in the green, and every single drill that he did, it was like, oh, this guy's standing out. Like, he belongs.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of like a third, maybe, like, I think you said Flannel took him in one of his mocks, maybe in third, fourth round.
When we saw him, we're like, I mean, the last name Proctor.
I thought it was Caden Proctor's brother.
We're like, who is that? We learned about him. We learned a lot about him today, too.
So Caleb Proctor is a name to watch. I know it's a defensive tackle, but there are people who want the Lions to go after a defensive tackle maybe later in the draft. He's kind of a sleeper that could come in and make a little bit of a splash for sure.
Yeah, we'll talk about maybe some fallers, maybe some guys that.
Well, there was one big one. Cassius Howell,
we could talk about him. Yeah, Cassius Howell, the arm length, and honestly, just the day today.
He did not have a good day. I saw someone tweet out while we were there. It was like, Cassius Howell probably would have just helped the stock if he didn't work out today.
Yeah, I agree.
Because
his arm length, man, 30.
Yeah,
and he's already undersized. I mean, typically undersized meaning, I mean, he's like 6'2", but he's just a guy you can just get after the quarterback. You're not using him as like an every down guy, which already kind of hurt his stock. He has short arms, and he didn't run like a blazing fast 40 to make up as like a speed rusher. So I don't really know.
I drafted Cassius Howell in one of my mocks. I won't do it again. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that was in the second round, which he was kind of flirting with, at least production wise. Getting a lot of praise, but yeah, he hurt his. You already mentioned
probably the main
Ruben
one.
Bain, the other guy.
I think Ruben Baines is still. I mean, he's still going to go top 10.
I don't think he's in the number 2 pick conversation.
I think he had an opportunity.
Number 3,
and I think it hurt that he didn't
hurt his stock by a couple picks. Not like terribly. I want to mention, you mentioned him earlier. Just make sure I hit on this too. I'm obsessed with some of the top linebackers in this class. I am, and I've been talking to the boys about it. Anthony Hill, incredible. Sonny Styles, incredible. Like, if those guys are, if the Lions select either of those guys, Sonny Styles would have to fall. But if Anthony Hill's the pick, you like trade back and take him or something like that. I think I'm okay with it. Because it matches need, and it's also, I would argue, best player at that spot.
Yeah.
And I know people are like, linebacker, come on, bro. I'm just being real, guys. Think of the idea: Jack Campbell and Anthony Hill next to each other. I mean, those two would feed families. By the way, Michael just threw us $20. Appreciate it, Michael. Thanks to the boys for the great coverage. Buy yourselves a beer on me. We appreciate you, Michael.
That,
Thank
Michael.
you, my friend. But there's so many good linebackers.
Jacob Rodriguez he tested well today as well.
I'm warming up to the idea of like an early linebacker, and I know. But think about it. Anzo gone.
He ran a 4.57 today.
Anzo gone. We just mentioned Kyle Lewis. Like we're talking all these linebackers: Sonny Styles, Anthony Hill. Like, it's like, dude, these linebackers, Jacob Rodriguez. It's like
the issue though, like an early
I know
linebacker.
We want to tackle. I know we want to edge, but it's like I wouldn't mind it.
Well,
I'm not saying it's my preference, but I wouldn't mind it.
That's the only thing I think. Again, that's where I like. Hey, Booner, what have you learned this weekend? First 3 days. If a good player falls, you just take it in this draft class.
You just have to snatch it.
If Sonny Styles makes it to you, or he comes close and you really like him, you just do it. I don't think there's a way Sonny Styles gets out of the top 10. Sonny Styles might have got himself into the top 5 today. He had
maybe not over.
He tested probably
belt,
one. He was probably the best linebacker to test in the last like 20 something years. Like and the whole thing. Klotz he didn't get mad, but he was just like, oh, he's not Fred Warner, but like the word everyone that's talking about, like that's the whisper.
I would argue
every person we've talked to about it is like, dude, he's like the next Fred Warner, and maybe not the style, but like the level of like he's going to be a first team All Pro for someone quick.
I would argue not that I'm debating this, but I'm curious what your thoughts on this. He's kind of in the like. he doesn't really have a ton of production, but he's such an incredible athlete.
The athlete,
you're
and the
almost
talent, you put him
projecting.
in the right
It's
room.
kind of like, I don't want to say it's Faulk. It's not the same, but it is like that type of guy where you're like, he's so athletic and such a freak. He has to turn out and be an incredible player.
He's one of those guys.
He was good at Ohio State this year, but I think Lukas said the prior year he missed like 18 tackles that year.
Yeah, he's one of those
he's such a
guys that
freak. He's such a
taken
freak.
advantage of Combine Week, and going into it, everyone was like questioning, like, all right, what's going on with Sonny Styles? Like, is he as good as people are saying? And then he just tested today out of the and when he spoke to the media, he killed that. And it sounds
he's massive.
Sounds like the meetings with teams go good for him, and now all of a sudden, boom, he has a chance to go to Arizona. He has a chance to go to New York. Like
he's mad. He's 6'5", runs a 4.4 40, can jump 43.5 inches.
Yep.
I mean, dude, that guy, he's a freak. I mean, I would understand if a team just took him because he's like, he could be a great player. I don't know. And he played at Ohio State and played very well.
If you needed a linebacker and you're not sold on any Maui Goa, like if you're the Cardinals and you're like, I don't know about Maui Goa if he's worth a third
if
overall
Arvell Reese
pick.
is there, you take him over Arvell Reese because he might be available.
Sonny Styles. Arvell Reese, by the way, I think they ran. What was it that they ran? Was it a 4.47?
4.47, both of them.
Both. Arvell Reese and Sonny Styles, both 4.47.
Because Arizona Arvell will probably be there.
I think I would go David Bailey. Like if I had to be like mock draft right now, I think obviously Fernando 1, David Bailey 2 to the New York Jets, and then I think 3 Arvell Reese to the Cardinals. And then I think who's 4?
Titans.
If I'm the Titans, I'm going Sonny Styles. That's how I would do it. I think those are the top 4 guys in this class right now.
Ohio State,
and then after that, I think it's open game. I don't know where Bain lands. I don't know where.
He'll probably go somewhere not too far after.
And today was day 1, so like I know people are like, well, you can't move all the way around because of testing. I don't even think it was testing. I think the thing is like I feel like we've been here and we've talked.
It's not a bad thing. It is testing for him because he had such a freaking massive day.
But before the
Sonny
testing,
Styles.
what was the thing before the testing? When we're talking to different media, people bring Sonny Styles up. Like this guy is different.
He's a big dude.
Because we were talking about Sonny Styles like this yesterday.
Yeah.
And he didn't test
People were saying, I mean, we were hearing things about how much of a freak he was, like athletically, and then you see it. I will say, I want to ask, we talked to the safeties today. We got to talk to some guys that we've talked about a ton. I mean, your guy, Bud Clark. We got to talk to Michael Taff out of Texas, Bishop Fitzgerald. By the way, can we say this? All these safeties, Jalen Husky, all these safeties, every time they're asked about the best safeties in the league or safeties they watch, Brian Branch, Kirby Jones, are in that conversation or guys they like to watch.
We for a little bit, like obviously,
which makes me sad. Actually,
it does. It really does. Klotz actually brought up a good point. Klotz is like, it's kind of
really
sad that there's a chance, like if these two guys never get back, that it was the best safety duo in NFL history to kind of fall apart just because of injuries.
It makes me so mad, but it actually makes me happy because it's like how many times if you ask guys like, oh, who are some safeties you watch? You name 2 on the same team.
Yeah,
it
wasn't even like when we do sometimes some of these conversations. You ask like, hey, what about Dan? How do you feel about Dan Campbell? How do you feel about Aiden Hutchinson? You know, those questions a little bit more leading towards Detroit for the people that watch our show, and those weren't even like I would walk up to Michael Taff and gets asked a question and he's saying it. I walk up to Bishop Fitzgerald. Who was it that I walked up to? And without even he was just all of a sudden the Arizona safety. I was just standing there. There was it was me and one other person talking to him. And he didn't even know I was from Detroit, nothing. I was about to ask the next question. And that guy asked him, like, hey, what safeties do you like? And he's like, I love watching Kirby Joseph and Brian Branch. And that's what the vibe was all day with the safeties.
Yeah.
All they talked about was Kirby and Brian and how they all kind
Caleb Downs even said Brian Branch, Shift God said. That's true.
Yeah. So it's kind of cool that we have those guys, but it sucks because they're hurt. But that's where my point was earlier in the show when we started it off, talking to the safeties, that if you do need to replace one of those guys, this is the perfect draft to do it because so many of these guys are molded by Kirby and Brian Branch to where if you need a nickel and you need a guy to move around, there's a handful of them in this draft. If you need a Kirby Joseph, a free safety that can go get you interceptions, there's a handful of them in this draft.
Jalen Husky, no, I'll give you another example. That's a guy I'm like, okay, I liked him. Got to go back and reevaluate him because I liked him a lot. But after hearing him speak today, I think he had a meeting with the Lions. 1, 2, very productive at Maryland. 3, super down-to-earth guy. And I think the mentality he plays with is something I think the Lions will like too. He mentioned, I watched, he goes, yeah, I'm a fan. I'm paraphrasing, but basically talking about Brian. I like watching Brian Branch and Kirby Joseph essentially was what he said. But he added, I'm the type of guy, I don't want you to come across the middle. I'm going to make you scared to come across the middle. And I just think if you say that to Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell and Kelvin Shepard, when you hear a guy like Jalen Husky from Maryland just say how much violence he enjoys playing football, not that you want Brian Branch penalties violence, but just attacking people and getting turnovers, which he did often, that's a guy I'm like, I got to go back and watch some Jalen Husky out of Maryland.
He was up there for a long time, and he actually, every time I would hear him talking, like I was at the podium next to him. That was when the Arizona kid, dude. Who was that? Do you remember?
I don't. I don't.
I should, because I actually talked to him for a little bit. So this is a big miss on me. I should know who it was.
Is it
but man, bro,
let me see. Was it Oh, I got it.
I got it right here. Dalton Johnson out of Arizona. He met with the Lions.
Dalton Johnson.
And he said, I believe he met with the Lions a few times. I could be wrong on that, but he brought up he had 4 interceptions this last year. Another dude that could play all around, and is also kind of a ball hawk. I think that's the common theme with the safeties in this draft. But when I was talking to him, I could hear him over there talking about that as well. And I was every single like little audio bit that I could hear from him, I walked over right when he said, "You don't want to come across the field on me. Like, you don't want to."
No. And that's the stuff when I say shit like that, I'm like, okay,
kind of fires you up.
Well, I get up in my seat. I'm like, okay, this guy seems like a lion. I'll say that. So a lot of good safeties today. I will mention, I got something checked off my bucket list today. I had 3 things checked off my bucket list in one day.
What was that?
I ran into Jake Slaughter.
Yeah, we did twice actually.
The guy
he was at the hotel
freak.
And on our way to the combine.
Yeah, and I got to talk to Sam Roush.
I forgot about that.
First question: Sam Roush, tight end out of Stanford, a stud, by the way. You had Kenyon Sadiq actually, who me and Klotz go back and forth about, but he's got this massive. He's got his podium. A bunch of people, Oregon's Kenyon Sadiq, are waiting for him. Sam Roush is over there, his little podium. No one's over there. It's like 5 people. So I'm like, I'm going to ask the boys. I'm like, boys, I got this one. Okay, I'm gonna ask him some questions. I go over there. I wait. He's a little late for whatever reason. It's not because he's late. It's like they have things they're doing. Yeah, it's not even like medical stuff like that. He comes up, massive dude, by the way. I go, Sam. Almost shed a tear. I said, Sam, who are some players in the NFL you model your game after? You know what he said? Sam Laporta.
Instantly, as soon as he walked up to the podium.
Sam Laporta, people. I'm telling you, he's perfect. He is. And after that, we proceeded to ask him. It's on our socials, by the way. Follow our social media. You can stay updated. I said, Sam, have you met with the Lions? What'd he say?
I think it was informal, I believe.
It was.
Just a normal meeting.
Informal, which, by the way, it doesn't mean it's everything. It was informal. They met with him, though. A formal, you only get a certain amount. Is that how it works? Formal, you get like 40.
You get 45 throughout the week.
So formal's more, it's like you get more information. You get to actually meet a player, but informal means you kind of met with them. Some scouts met with them.
I'll say this, too. With people, you go ahead.
But I was going to say, no, you're good. So I asked him, how'd the meeting go to play for Dan Campbell, and he had nothing but great things to say, just like many other people. But, man, he is such a great fit. He's probably a second, third round guy. Again, you got to pick up another pick to probably get him. You're not going to use that second round pick on him. Maybe even a 4th if he falls.
They have to get a 3rd round pick. That's the one thing I'm realizing. I think that's one
of the takeaways, too.
Everyone we've talked to,
it feels like
pick. It feels like every time I talk to someone about the Lions and about like different players, like, oh, this guy's a 3rd round guy, and then instantly you remember, oh, they don't have a 3rd round pick. And it's like that is actually, I know 1st and 2nd round is important. 3rd round's actually, you can get some dudes. And I think in this draft, again, not a top end draft, but it's such a like spread out
Deep.
draft to where it's like a 3rd round pick this year. If
We
I'm being
talked about it
honest,
last week.
feels so valuable.
This combine we are looking forward to because out of the last 3
So
years,
many
it's the
guys.
most unique combine because there's so many dudes that are just in this bucket of like uncertain. You just don't know about it. There's just so much talent, but they're not like very well known in your face talent. Like the edge class, there's not like a Myles Garrett, but there's just like a bunch of dudes. You're like, this guy could be
There's
good.
a bunch of dudes that
This
can
guy
be
could be
top
really
30 at the edge position, not top 5, top 10.
It really is very interesting.
Well, real quick, there's 2 things I had. One, formal, informal. Just so people know, there's 45 meetings. I've been having comments on our stuff when we post all these things. I do read the comments in these tweets. A lot of people are like, they're talking to so many edge rushers. They're talking to so many safeties and corners. They're talking to so many tight ends. When they get asked those, there's formal, informal. Formal lines only have 45. Informal is like they could still pull them. It's not a full 20-minute meeting. The formal is like a full 20-minute meeting. Sit down. You know, you only have you can go longer.
Mm-hmm.
Informal, you can still sit down with them for 10 minutes. There was a lot of informal meetings that when I talked to a couple of guys today, they're like, yeah, I had an informal meeting with the Lions. And then, you follow up, how did it go? What did you get takeaways with it? Like, what was that like with Dan and everything? A lot of those, essentially what they said were, well, they had me install, a defense with them. They wanted to see how I reacted to their defense. That's like an informal meeting. They could do that. The formals are just spread. It's the same thing, just spread out a little bit longer. It's like when you see the videos of Sam Laporta and stuff, you're watching film. That's the formal meeting. Informal, it's still a similar thing. I'll say this, though. This all intertwines. And when I say like the edge rushers and stuff, there's anytime you ask them, they probably meet with almost every single player at the combine. Most likely, 80%.
They're
of the
meeting
guys.
with so many people.
Especially just
correct me if I'm wrong,
informal.
is informal? It could be just like scouts, and like
Informal
maybe
can be scouts. Informal can just be like a defensive player. It could just be Kelvin Shepard, or it could be a positional.
Like
coach.
It's not like informal
I don't
means
think
you're in the room.
I think it's more so positional coaches.
Because some guys have said I've met with some lines, like some scouts.
It's not necessarily Brad and Dan.
I guess that's a better way to say it.
It's more so like say offensive lineman Hank Fraley and Dan Skipper.
There you go. Yeah,
that's
fair.
informal. Like, yeah, I met with the
By
Lions.
the way, we
informal.
did see Dan Skipper and Hank Fraley today.
We did, confirmed. But the reason I bring up all of that is because another tight end that I love, and I text Klotz 2 months ago about this guy, Tanner Kosil.
Big dude.
Tanner Kosil out of Houston, who had 700 plus yards, like 8 touchdowns, like 60 catches or something like that. So this is an insane stat line last year. 6'7", and he looks young. Like when I stayed at his podium for a while, looks young, very, very smart kid, and multiple meetings with the Detroit Lions. Like if you're talking about like, hey, what tight end are they really looking for? I don't know. He didn't really specify they had a formal interview, but what he did say was we've had multiple meetings. I've met with them. I believe they met with him at the combine. And the reason I say multiple meetings, when asked, he responded, the meetings have went phenomenal. So there was an S at the end of meetings. He said the meetings have gone phenomenal.
You know
So
what,
when
I
say
think
that-
it was? It was probably Senior Bowl.
Yep.
Probably formal or
Maybe
informal at the
he
combine.
didn't answer formal, informal.
But
Maybe it was a
but
formal.
they've
but-
been with him for this long.
Us 3 here in this room have been talking about, like, at least I've been thrown out there. Hey, I think if they draft a tight end, I think they're going to look more so like obviously you want a guy who can block. Like we know that. I think they look more so towards like the receiving tight end, because I brought it up last week. If Sam goes down, you still need a tight end that can come in and make plays, which they haven't had that. Brock Wright here and there, yeah, little disappointing this last year. Same with Shane Zylstra. Like
They had no receiving production.
They've had no receiving production out of tight ends. And I think if a guy goes down or like Sam Laporta goes down, you need someone that can step in. And Tanner Kosil, actually, because that was one of the down things that I've got when I drafted him in my first mock draft. Pushback from the fans was like, can he block? Can he be in the run game? He kept emphasizing today was like, I can, like, the one thing I want to show coaches and ingrain into coaches what I can run block. Like I want to be a dirty player in there and run block. And he said that's the one thing in my game that I'm going to prove that I can do, and I'm going to focus on going into the NFL. And it was like, okay, if you like, if he said what he said to me, if he says that to Dan Campbell as a former tight end, I can guarantee Dan Campbell looks at his production and then looks at how much he's like, I'll put my body on the line to block for a Jahmyr Gibbs. Dan Campbell, 6'7" kid, you're like, okay, I'm all in on him. Like if he's there in the 4th round,
That's what I was trying to explain to the people earlier. Is when we listen to these guys speak, you're listening to like keywords they say. Like Sam Roush was like, "I love violence. I want to dominate at the line of scrimmage." Like essentially paraphrasing, but that's like what these guys. You're like, oh, okay.
Tanner Kosil, I'll do anything to run block.
Exactly.
Like I'll put my body on the line to run block.
That's what you look for. It's like little key. And by the way, we learned a lot from the pros here. You know, we just went out to dinner back to back. John Macaroon. You know, we've got to talk to all the Lions media. You mentioned Tim Twentyman. Justin Rogers. People. I mean, the guys from the collective. Obviously, those are my guys.
Colton,
Nolan. Nolan, Bianchi, Will Birchfield.
Yep.
Jeremy Reisman.
Dave Burkett has been awesome.
Morgan, all these guys that are all down here. Richard Silva, shout out to him.
Richard, man.
All the great guys, all great.
Tim 20, man. I talked to Tim today for like 5 minutes. It was a good combo. He's
Corey. How could I not forget my
Corey?
Guy?
He's the legend.
The legend.
Corey's actually introduced us. Corey is the one that keeps introducing us to like.
Corey is a
really connected people.
We would do anything for Corey.
Yeah,
he is really one of the best humans ever.
He connected
people
us
at what he
with
does.
Something that could help this show.
Yeah, he's the man. Got to meet some of the Lions PR as well. So hopefully they haven't seen too many of my takes about things, but
hopefully they've seen your takes. Maybe they see my Kool-Aid. So we're like,
we're a bit balanced. Maybe it's a balance. I would like to say, but it was fun, man. The networking down here. I will say some stuff has came out since we've been here. I will say, and we'll kind of close the show out by talking about the biggest news that happened today. I mean, Terrion Arnold. What the hell happened?
Two things. Yeah, though that's the first thing.
I mean, so people have seen this. Nolan, Detroit News does an amazing job. He broke it down, detailed it. You actually dove into it a lot more at the combine. I tried to catch up with it as much as I could. I checked out the article. We covered this situation when it happened initially, and we just kind of talked about it. We're talking with Doc. We're like, is there more to it? We're not sure. People online were like, oh, Mike Florio, you dirtbag. How dare you put Terrion Arnold's name in your article? You're a Vikings fan. You're doing it for clickbait. Guys, this is where we have to be non-biased, unbiased, whatever word you want to use. Put the Kool-Aid down and just look at the facts of the matter. He has not been charged or arrested. That's a fact, okay? That's good. But the other facts are there are things he is being accused of that may or may not be true. But the accusations are facts. Or not are facts, but they are there. The accusations are there. They're not facts yet. We don't know. But they are there. And they are being the judge commented on the case. And there's more to the case is what the prosecution, I'm assuming, is trying to make the argument for, that TA was more involved than he initially was reported.
Yeah, it said that
of the whole robbery kidnapping situation of him trying to get his stuff back.
Originally, a lot of people said, like, why is TA's name in these article with Mike Florio? Like, why'd you put his name in there? And I said it on the show that night that it happened. It was TA's money. It was TA's stuff that got stolen, and it was also, the Airbnb that he was living in, or that he was renting. And then people were mad. Why is his name in it? It comes out today. Nolan again put together kind of. If you guys want to go check it out, the Detroit News. Nolan did a really good job at kind of breaking the whole situation down. He has not been arrested. He has not been charged. TA has not. None of that's happened. But it is confirmed, essentially, I don't know, allegedly, that he was involved in some way, not of the actual thing, but it was his stuff, where Terrion did report the stuff missing to the police on February 3rd. The incident that this is happened on February 4th, so the next day is essentially what happened. So he did report the stuff, probably as he should have, that, hey, it got stolen, this is missing, to the police department. But then February 4th, essentially, the quote that was that the judge put out, and this is where it's like not the best for TA. And again, we want to be able to hear what's going on more. But the quote was, Arnold and his friends decided to take matters into their own hands. Is the quote that no one put out that the judge said. So
Arnold and his friends. He's being grouped into it.
There has been 5 different people, I believe, was the number that have been arrested so far from this situation. Not Terrion Arnold. But it's just kind of just an ongoing situation to where I honestly, this is the thing, whether he gets charged, whether something happens or not, whether he gets off with whatever happens, right? It's all allegedly until something happens. If TA is involved, you just can't put yourself in those situations. You know what I mean? Like, you got to know you're an NFL player. Yeah, if the money got stolen, things got stolen. Okay, you do what you did. He did it right the first time on February 3rd, where I got supposedly he reported it. You did it and just let that play out. And I know it probably sucks. It's a lot of money. I don't have that much money, so I don't know how I would react. But you're an NFL player, man. Like, you're in the limelight. You are under a magnifying glass. You have to. You can't put yourself in that situation.
You're not in the mafia, dude. Like, you know what I mean. You can't be orchestrating or at least
report it and move on.
Yeah, unfortunately,
let them do their job.
I understand the human element. This guy took $100,000, or these people. I want to get my get back. It's probably going to take the police all this time to get my money back, and they won't even know if they'll get it back. We'll just go do it ourselves. But the problem with that is, man, you're Terrion Arnold. Okay, just don't. You can't associate yourself with that. You can't, because you have, as much as you want to critique his play, he is a young player with a lot of potential, and you're throwing that away. If God forbid this does go farther, we don't know. He's not charged or anything, and it could end up working out well for him. But it's not great PR.
As of right now, it's not good.
It's not great PR. As of right now, it's not good PR. Whether he gets charged or not, just saying the situation how it looks, not great PR.
I'll say this too.
Get off Twitch, man.
What I said at the stadium to you guys, like the Lions, they have their little booth up there, and as soon as this comes out, as soon as Nolan puts this out, it's like, what did I say? I was like, this is probably the last thing that the Lions want to deal with during combine week, and then drafts coming up. Like, they have things that, you know what I mean? Like, if you're Dan and Brad, you're like, you expect, it's like, I remember when I was coaching, like, you just expect your players to always do the right thing and not to put themselves in positions to where you have to, something else goes on your plate now because of a decision a player makes. And that's like, you're putting the franchise, the organization, now the fan base, like, everyone's,
Well, I'm curious, like, let's say Mansour Delane is
whether he's innocent or not, like, you just don't want to put that out there. And now it puts,
you pull the trigger on that.
Like, I see a lot of people in the chat actually bringing it up, and I saw people commenting on our stuff. Like, now it puts you in a position like now if something happens out of this, now corners in play in the first round if someone falls. Now, or even just in the draft, now it messes a lot up, man. I hope TA is not involved, but like a quote like that, and then if you go read the whole article, man, it just doesn't seem like everything about it. It's like, clearly there's some sort of involvement, and when you read it, it's just not a good look at the end of the day. And right after it dropped, 5 minutes later, TA's like tweeting some stuff out about a Twitch live stream, and it's like, dude, you like, do you have a PR guy?
Just delete that.
The Lions need to reach out to him and say, dude, get off the internet.
Someone was probably like, just operate as usual, but sometimes it's better just to not.
No.
You gotta
if that something like that comes out, I promise you do not operate as usual. You get out of the limelight.
Oh yeah, you don't.
You do everything you can. I'm gonna see if that video's still up.
I bet you it's not.
No. Oh no. Yeah. What's today?
I don't even know.
There was for sure a video he put out today, right? That wasn't it.
No, he deleted it.
Yeah,
he deleted it. He read the room. He did post something.
Yeah, someone commented, said read the room, TA, and he deleted it instantly. So it's a bad situation.
Calvin did say, quote, maybe not quote paraphrase, but he basically essentially said he needs to do less talking and more playing. I mean, that's what Calvin, which by the way, I have my disagreements sometimes with Calvin, but I support that 1,000%, man. I love that. I love that.
I told you guys that I walked by a group of people today. I don't know who they were, just random people. I don't know, media members, whatever it was. And they were talking about TA and Patrick Surtain's podcast. And then the one thing that they said, they were like, Patrick Surtain's defensive player of the year. Like, he's out there talking on the podcast, and he's performing doing this. And he's like,
you heard that?
What?
What?
I heard it was just a random group. It was like outside around the convention center. But then they were like, the next comment in it was like, but TA, man, like, what is he like? Every time he talks about it, they're like, he hasn't put anything out there yet. Like, he's like talking here like he's Patrick Surtain, and these are just random people, like just random like NFL fans, and they're like, but when TA does it, and I'm like, in my head, I just go,
it's a bad look.
Yeah,
I actually had this conversation with Klotz, and this is where I'm at with things, dude. I don't think you should be doing live stream. Maybe I'm old school. I don't know. Twitch live streaming, have a podcast, post on TikTok if you're not already a star or a superstar. I'd prefer like Panay Sewell's where you're not just doing anything.
I disagree.
I don't like it. I
disagree a little because
Panay, Amon-Ra did it when he was a superstar.
But that though,
if you're
saying only
Brian
superstars are allowed to start podcasts and allowed to start, I don't think that's the case. But you can't go on those streams and talk and act like you're the best in the league.
I just want my guys focused on ball.
I agree, but I think like
Aiden Hutchinson's ball. Panay, ball.
Like I'll say this.
Amon-Ra, ball.
What's
until
his name
he's a superstar,
on the
he's like,
Tigers?
all right.
What's his name on the Tigers? He's not a superstar. Why am I drawing a blank right now?
I don't know.
Who's dude? Why am I drawing such a blank on the Tigers? He does Twitch like live streams and he does like Call of Duty streams. Chat, help me out. Who is it?
I know on the Lions, Graham does CS:GO streams.
Like Graham, like you're not like like in his off, but Graham's not going on those CS:GO streams and being like, I'm the best guard man ever.
I know. I'm not
you
saying you can't play video games, but I'm
build,
saying do all this content. Like you're not a content creator.
Like are you
you're
mad?
A professional football
But
player.
are you mad like Will Compton started what he did? Like no, like he did it while he was in the
That's
NFL.
Will Compton. He knew he didn't have a future in the league. All due respect to Will Compton.
But
Will, he knew
he was playing. He played
Does
like
Fred Warner have a podcast? But does Jack Campbell?
But hear me out. He played like 3 or 4 years in the league doing the podcast.
But
that's Will didn't go on the podcast. This is where I veer off. Will didn't go on the podcast being like, I'm the greatest linebacker
Maybe a
in the
superstar
NFL.
right now that has a podcast.
LeBron.
He's 40 and about to retire. And he's not a superstar.
Amon-Ra.
As a superstar, yes.
There's actually a lot that you just don't know.
Okay, now you're just. But my point being is like the top Myles Garrett, no. You know what I'm saying? Jack Campbell, no. Fred Warner, no.
Oh, Gleyber Torres. No one even in the chat even put that in there, but Gleyber Torres.
Like
Gleyber Torres does the stream.
How about this, Terrion Arnold? And you look good at the beginning of the year. There's some times where I was like, man, he's taking some strides. Just focus on that, man.
Yeah, he does
just
need
work.
to just.
I want you to just focus on your craft. Now, I'm rooting for him. I want him to be a superstar. He's doing so many different things, like, and then this pops up. It's like, all right, dude.
Yeah,
no one cares.
I think it's fine.
No one cares.
I think it's fine that he does it, but if you're doing it and you're acting like you're Patrick Surtain and it's affecting your game and you're going on there saying stuff and people are able to like start cooking you and it's actually affecting, then no, that you shouldn't be able to. But I think I think anyone should be able to start it if they want. Like Will Compton did it, dude. And
it's not. I think
Taylor Lewan was
get it. I'm not
Taylor
saying
Lewan was the highest paid left tackle in the NFL, and he started it with Will.
Bang! There you go. My point. He was the highest paid left tackle and very good and started a podcast.
But also, Will was the one that started it, and Will was a practice squad guy
because he wasn't a first year. I think we're. How about this?
Oh, you're saying
you draft a guy. You draft a guy.
What about the Downs brothers?
Caleb Downs
and Josh Downs.
I'm not a fan of it. Not Josh Downs, not a superstar though. You know what I'm saying? He's just.
Caleb is.
Caleb is.
Is it a distraction for him?
We'll see if he starts Twitch live streaming. If he starts Twitch live streaming, I don't like it. I'm just not a fan of it. I really am not. I do podcasts because I can't play professional sports. I'll tell you this: if I was in the NFL, I wouldn't be doing podcasts. I'd be making millions doing. I'd perfect my craft.
I would do podcasts.
Well, that's the difference. All right.
If I was like a long snapper, you know who needs to do a podcast?
Well, if I was a long snapper,
you know who should do a podcast?
Kicker?
Hogan Hatton.
Maybe not a kicker though. Hogan Hatton would be great.
I'm gonna text him and say, "You want to start a podcast with me?"
I don't know, but I'll say this: you can disagree with it because I understand that's me being a little more old.
Can I start a podcast with Hogan Hatton on the side?
Of course, dude. Hogan Hatton would be he's
once a week. Would you be mad?
No, I don't care. Do your own thing. What are we gonna? We're dating?
Am I under contract? Are we like what's?
No, Hogan Hatton's a legend.
Hit him up.
But I understand that I'm a little more old school. It's fine. You can hate that take. It's fair. But yeah, TA, do start focusing on ball, my friend. You get too much shit going on. Okay, you do. You just do. By the way, we had a comment in here I didn't want to address. Michael did ask earlier, what was our favorite conversation we've had this week so far? Just in general.
I think one of the cool ones was your guy.
Yeah, John Middlecoff.
And the John Middlecoff one, our first 2 years here, we have short conversations, like 4 or 5 minutes, maybe get to a 10-minute convo, and they're good conversations. John Middlecoff, like, we talked to him at the Combine Media Center. Cool dude, was nice, asked us what we do, talked a little bit, and we're out having drinks at the end of the night, and he just pulls his seat up and sits with us for 2 hours. Like, it's not even, he's a guy like one of the biggest in the industry, right? He could have just sat with us for 5 minutes. He was with us for 2 hours.
And then the next day,
that's not even an exaggeration. It was 2 straight hours. had a handful of drinks. We sat there. Next day, we're in the same spot. He comes by, sits down for another 30, 40 minutes and just talks ball, every sport. And
offered to buy us beers. I mean, he's
just a good
dude.
dude. I think that's the best one that we've had. I also think, obviously, I mean, for people who didn't know, I mean, we had a really good conversation. Night one was Drew Petzing. And I think that was
honestly, I think the coolest thing about this.
That
whole
was
thing,
like one-on-one. It was just me, Klotz, and Drew Petzing.
It's awesome to meet people you watch and people you look up to, like John Middlecoff. It's awesome. Like that was definitely a bucket list for me to have a conversation with him. It was sweet. But the other interesting part about just being down here, there's so many coaches, and I think it's unique. And this is where we're different from like beat writers and reporters. They do a great job, but for us, like we get to casually talk to Dave Phipp one day, and we're talking to Dave Phipp, and we have just a back and forth conversation, what we do, talking about, how it all works. He's super intrigued by it. Just podcasting in general, but it was just nice to introduce ourselves to Dave Phipp. Next day, Drew Petzing. We meet Drew Petzing. The only person we haven't met is Kelvin Shepard out of the coordinators. So that maybe that's a whole nother.
We'll see what happens when that one comes around. I don't know if Kelvin might watch.
He might punch me in the face. But I've never missed anything disrespectful. I don't think he's been doing an amazing job, but that's neither here nor there. But then we meet Drew Petzing. And then the next day we run into Drew Petzing again. He's coming out of his hotel. We're walking. He goes, you guys again. I mean, I'm seeing you guys everywhere. Yeah. So we're talking, quick conversation. He goes on the phone. He walks away. We walk away. But just having these interactions with these people that, outside of this area, Indy, the combine, it just seems like you're not going to run into them is interesting. I mean, yeah. I mean, I just everyone. We could talk to Indy. There's a lot of people here. So it's awesome. It's been fun down here. Jeff, funny story too, by the way. Jeff, he goes downstairs to the lobby. In our lobby, we're in the hotel we're staying. It's just all NFL. We go to the lobby. There's probably 4 head coaches down there right now. Jeff goes down to get something in the lobby, takes the elevator back up. We're an hour later. We're watching TV. I think we were watching. We're watching NFL Network. They were doing the combine stuff, and there's a guy on the TV wearing a full Jordan jumpsuit, and he goes, "Who is that?" And me and Klotz are like, "That's Todd Monken, the Cleveland Browns' new head coach." And you go, "Dude, I just got off the elevator with this guy. I just had a conversation with him." Yeah. And you're like, "That's Todd Monken?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's Todd Monken." I will say, zero clue. The fact that I had zero clue is kind of cool. He's a cool dude. Yeah, but he had the Jordan drip. I'm thinking this guy's an agent. Like he's dressed, and maybe that's the old school of me talking, where I'm like, he's got to look like a head coach. He's dressed like he's chilling. He's got Jordan, Nike hat, and I'm like, this guy looks like he's got a sick fit on. Baby blue Jordan hoodie. I get off the elevator, I look at the TV, baby blue Jordan hoodie at the combine doing an interview. Todd Monken, funny dude, cool ass dude. We walk out of our. I mean, we don't say where we're staying or anything, but we walk out of our hotel room. We start walking to the elevator, and it's just Delaney Walker just singing by himself, just singing a song, just walking out. I'm like, that's Delaney Walker right there. So Steven Jackson, the running back, me and Klotz were in the elevator, wouldn't even know. There's everyone. There's so many guys. Anyone you could think in the NFL. You can keep going. Frank Gore, we were sitting next to yesterday having drinks. Frank Gore. Legend. Frank Gore. Hall of Famer. So it's just stuff you constantly kind of. Doc said you guys got turned last night. No. Actually, it was an early night. We got here the first night. We're like, let's have some drinks, and John Middlecoff sat down. We're all drinking. Great vibes. But no, the last 2 days we've just had like yesterday. Last night was 2 beers. Early. Yeah. We're being there's times to get like that, and then times where we're just hanging out. Like yesterday, we had dinner with the doc, or we had food drinks with the doc. It was great. Frank Gore found out last night. He's a scout for the 49ers. Yeah, I found that out last year when he was here because I was asking, why is Frank Gore at the combine? Like, you're Frank Gore. Yeah. And I looked him up. Dude's a scout. And then who said who was it? Was it John? I think John Middlecoff was like he told us he's a scout. He was like, he just does like top. By the way, John Middlecoff just casually dropping. Yeah, one of my good friends is Andy Reid. He's like, yeah, I was just, he like brought up in conversation. I was just texting Andy Reid. The guy just has everybody. Andy Reid's this thing and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, we all are like, Andy Reid, dude? So badass. It's so cool, man. By the way, those who don't know, well, go watch John Middlecoff. He does shows with Colin Cowherd, has his own podcast, 3 and Out on the Volume. He's a former scout, so he got to talk to us. We just pick his brain. He said he heard a lot of great things about Drew Petzing. He has a lot. He's connected in the league. A lot of people love him. Which again, you take that for how you want, but a lot of people. I think that's a bigger thing we talked about yesterday on yesterday's show. A A lot of positive things for Drew
I
Petzing.
think Lions fans are going to be really happy with him.
A lot of things.
Give him a chance. Don't do what we did last year with. And by the way, Lions grades for their player grades came out. Where players vote on all these different things. I know the NFL said they're not allowed to release them. Someone actually leaked all of the teams, which is cool. Like, yeah, leak them. People should know. The Lions had an A and B grade in every single category. The only category that they had lower than a B was offensive coordinator. They had a C- for the offensive coordinator. And also, I saw this. The Arizona Cardinals, I believe they gave their offensive coordinator, Drew Petzing, a B+.
Wow.
So people need to give the guy a chance.
Fans would have gave him an F-.
Give
we met up with our friend Noah, who covers the Cardinals.
Oh, he hates.
Worked with us at Woodward Sports, and Noah hates Drew Petzing.
Every time we hype him up, he's like, no.
He's like, I had to watch that offense for 3 months.
I'm all in on Drew Petzing,
which is crazy. No, but we appreciate you guys. All the support, Michael. The $20. We got also another membership in here that I didn't even mention. Because the comments are, everyone's talking in there. Let's see, Mike Reed for 22 months as a member.
How about
Almost
that?
2
Shout
years
out Mike, dude.
for Mike Reed, an OG. What's up, fellas in chat? We appreciate you. Steven, Monroe Freeling is going to be a stud, my top offensive tackle, 10 months as a member. We appreciate the hell out of you, Steven.
And Monroe Freeling. I love him as well.
I can't wait to watch him. He's going to be that guy's
Sunday's a big day, boys.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see Monroe Freeling test.
Please turn our notifications on because we go live. We'll be live tomorrow. So to catch us, it's just different throughout the day because we have so many different. We're busy all day from morning to night doing things. So it just depends on when we have time. But so turn our notifications on. Follow us on social media for all the updates as it pertains to the NFL Combine. And how do you want any last words, Boone?
No, I just got stuck because I was thinking about some stuff for this week with some players. Yeah, make sure you guys hit the like button, subscribe tomorrow. Maybe we'll go a little earlier. We'll see. There's on-field stuff again tomorrow in the morning. We have meetings and interviews. Actually, tomorrow's a big day. If you guys want to, quarterbacks and wide receivers are tomorrow, interviews and stuff. So make sure you guys tune in for that. And then we have on-field stuff with safeties, corners, and tight ends tomorrow. So make sure you guys subscribe, go like, and then follow us on every single social media platform. I'm going to go eat some dinner, though. I'm hungry. Peace. Love you guys.